Well, it is time to start our 14th season here at Southend United, and despite our quickest ever rise in an English save, we've not managed to win two of the big trophies yet. The Carabao Cup and the Champions League still both elude us, and in the latter, we've not even got close. Today we start though with a Community Shield, which we won for the first time last year. And my oh my, this summer has been busier than we expected. Yes, hello, and welcome along to part 110 and season 14 of Saving Southend with me, Daniel. We are back today to face Manchester United in the Community Shield, a trophy we won for the very first time last season. And after we backed up our first Premier League title with another one, we've got the chance to play in it again. We're going to look at that in a moment and get through the game, but first of all, there is big transfer news because we didn't expect it this summer. But we have got two new record signings, both in defensive areas, and I feel it's the next progression of the team to take us to the next level. And it's also going to mean a slight tactical tweak, probably for the first time in 3 or 4 years. So if you're looking forward to finding out a bit more about that and seeing how we start our season, then please do put a thumbs up on the video. I will spring a word of caution as well, because you may be looking at that top right of the screen and thinking, I tell you what, you've got a friendly start to the season, haven't you? Wait until you see the 3 or 4 games after those 4. Let's start though with transfers as always. It's been a very busy summer at Southend United, and genuinely, when I went into this window, I thought there was a chance there wouldn't be a senior signing. As it is, there's been a couple of big ones, and there might soon be more big name departures. Well, I've got to be honest here, the thing that makes me most proud this summer is we've bought in nearly 100 million for players that have left the club. I've gone back to the end of last season because that's where we're going to start. But we haven't really sold anyone in the first 11 yet. There may be 1 or 2 that do move on because of our new signings. But for now, it's just been a massive improvement of the squad in exchange for not really having much of a net spend. We've bought in 2 superstar first team players, sold 4 or 5 fringe players, and bought a couple of youngsters back from loan. And those things combined have actually evened out quite well. So we're going to start with the first mini signing of the summer, which is not an exciting one. But Devon Francis comes in from Arsenal. He's a young player with a little bit of potential. And as you can see, he's gone out on loan to Newport already. And he's playing well in League Two. But another one of those free agents getting released that I just thought it may be worth taking a gamble on. But the first sale of the summer, and the reason we're starting here, is a club legend has left us. He wanted a new challenge. He's been with us from the National League. Won 4 promotions. Got 2 Premier League medals. He has been an absolute star. I think he came on the pitch to lift the Europa League and the FA Cup. Harrison Parker has gone to Fulham for £15 million. A reminder, we got him on loan in season 2 and he became a key part of that big run in the second half of the season that won us the title and got us into the Football League. He was then a superstar in League 2. He was then a superstar in League 1. And once we reached the Championship after another loan spell, he joined us on a permanent deal for our Premier League promotion. He's now been involved for multiple seasons, actually played more last year than he did the previous. But for someone that we got on a free after 4 loan spells, to sell for 15 million quid after making such a contribution to the club, I'm so proud of this player. He has done so much for us. 332 league appearances. And in the last couple of years, his role had just dwindled a bit. And I didn't want him to be sitting here. So he gets 50 grand a week to go and be a squad player at Fulham. Hopefully play a bit of Premier League football again. But he will always be remembered as the legend he is. A quick and tall centre-half. Someone who has been a key part of our rise. Harrison Parker, farewell and thank you. On to this season. 2 big signings which we'll get to in a minute. But let's start with the outs. Because I mentioned we've not sold anyone from the first team. We've certainly brought in a fair bit of money because the first one to leave was Martin Baranda, now 3rd choice right back because we bought in a new first choice and we still have Memic. So he moved to West Ham for £30 million, almost as much as we paid for the new right back. He goes on and plays Premier League football again. A very good footballer, naturally fit, versatile, determined. Again, has been a really brilliant servant for us, but at 28 and with dwindling ability, he's a player that's not quite able to do it for us now. 127 league appearances for us, but only 13 last season after being in the 20s or 30s every other year. it was something that we just had to do. But again, look at the business from the club. 6.75 million he was signed for. We've sold him for over 30 with more fees potentially after. Great business yet again. Speaking of great business, let's look at the next one because Kazuki Takatsuka has finally left. Despite playing a lot last season, didn't start a Premier League game. And I felt again, I'm looking at that quality and the same as Baranda and Parker. They're solid Premier League players and not much else. Takatsuka's only 26, but he's been offered life-changing money in Saudi, 125 grand a week. But we've got to remember him again. Made 161 league appearances, scored 21 goals, including some of the most infamous in our episodes. And to sell him for over a £20 million profit as well. I mean, you're looking at the profit from those three players alone. And you're talking about, what, 60 million quid. It's incredible business. But again, after playing in the late 20s and early 30s for appearances every year, he made 13 last season and every single one was off the bench. We've got plenty of young players going out on loan, a few of them leaving on free agent deals that didn't quite work out. But if we move down to the next permanent sales, we've got a small one for Glenmore, a 17-year-old in our academy. The second one is a really good bit of business, I think, because Spike Brits has left the club for £18 million. He's gone to Saudi. Now, he came in last year and did a really good job for us as a number 2. Had to play a few league games because of injuries and was really strong in the cups and that. He wasn't a player I was desperately looking to sell. But if you remember last summer, we also bought in a brilliant young Scottish keeper in Logan McNaughton. So Spike Brits, the opportunity came, he was getting interest. He had 2 years left on his deal, I think, because we only gave him a 3-year one. And I looked at him and went, do you know what? We've got a chance to double our money here. Let's just do it because he's probably going to be relegated to third keeper this year. But this game last season, the Community Shield final, will always live long in the memory. Spike Brits won us that first trophy of the year. He was brilliant. He came on in that shootout and was a superstar. But we signed him last summer for £10.5 million. He's played 4 league games for us, 13 appearances from the start overall. And then we've sold him for £18 million the next summer. That's good business, I'm sorry. The other goalkeeper that went out, I'd argue, despite being a smaller fee, is maybe my best bit of business of the summer. Because I don't know if you remember this guy, Luke Davis. I signed him from, I think, Leicester 3 or 4 years ago and got slated by the fans. Because I signed him as an emergency third choice keeper for £3,500. He's gone out on loan to Swindon last year and done okay in League 2. But Wolves have suddenly paid 1.7 million for him. Now, I'm looking at him here and thinking, that is maybe the best deal I've ever done in this save. To get 1.7 million for a goalkeeper that's probably League 1, League 2 standard, I think is pretty exceptional. So that is a bonus bit of money we'll absolutely take. A few others gone out on loan. There is Golobec, who I mentioned before. You can see he's not spectacular, but for a third choice keeper who's homegrown at the club, I think from next season he'll fill that void perfectly, as long as he's happy to do so. And then moving further along, a couple of other loan players out of note. Dominic Ivusic, who we bought in January. Want him to get a season at AFC Wimbledon, see how he does in, I think, League 1. They are in League 1, so I'm going to keep an eye on his performances. At the moment, he's at the Olympics. And then John Nussum, who we bought in last summer as that sort of gamble free agent signing, a bit like we did with Francis at the start of this year, had a really good loan spell at Walsall the second half of last year after making a couple of appearances for us. He went there, they were in the playoff mix. He stormed them to the title, won 3 out of 5 awards for Player of the Month in League 2. And this year, he's got to move to the Championship, and he scored on his debut for Burnley. So I think we might have stumbled on someone who maybe next year can be that sort of depth in the squad, that sort of 23rd, 24th and 25th man in Europe. He'll become homegrown in the nation. He can play centre mid, right mid, holding mid, up front. He seems like the perfect candidate to just be that average squad player that we haven't got. So one more loan spell for him and hopefully he'll be raring to go. But with all of the outs done and all of the money recouped for fringe players, we've got to look at where we've spent it all. And we've spent it on 2 fullbacks, 115 million, a 70 million on a left back, 45 million on a right back. Let's start with the left back. Jean Carlos has come in from AC Milan. He is a very good 25-year-old left back who can also play as an attacking winger and can also cover at right back. Now, you'll notice a couple of differences here. Defensively, you might say he's not world class, but he's actually slightly better than De Angelis was. Mentally, he's fantastic. He's professional. He's got a great personality. But here are the 2 big things. 15 jumping reach and 6 foot tall. At the back post, I was looking at the data hub. We were getting done a little bit from crosses, so I've tried to address that on that side, which was an issue. I couldn't do it on both, but we have got Memic when we're coming up against teams that are big. At the moment, we've still got Memic who we can play out at right back, or Rakoski who can go out and cover there. Physically, though, this guy is a monster. The Angelis, not got the best natural fitness, breaks down a little bit, isn't always fit. Roy Curley did a job for us, but I'm going to try and loan him out because he's not that level just yet. This guy is. And what you may notice is that he's a natural wing-back. He's not actually great in a standard fullback role. He is a person who likes to fly forward, carry the ball, work down the line, go up and down. And I think that's where we're going to see the change in style this year. Our fullbacks will become wing-backs and start flying. And if that really works, we can then maybe think about narrowing our wingers slightly and trying to get 3 or 4 in the box from crosses rather than 2. But Jean Carlos is going to be a key part of that. Let's look at the other side though, because while we've not managed to get the height so much out there, in João Gomes for 45 million from Porto, we have secured a long-term target. And if we lose someone who we're threatened to this summer, he might not be the last signing from Porto. Gomes is just 23 years of age. He is a Portuguese international. Again, you will notice that he is naturally a wing-back. He is brilliant in terms of the mental side of the game. He's driven, he anticipates the ball, he's got good positioning. He's also great technically in the key areas. And again, physically he's a monster. That's what I wanted this year. He's not got the jumping reach, he's not got the height, but we've got Memic for those games. What I wanted was someone with a similar personality, who was less injury prone, who could fly up the wing. And in those home games where we're expecting to dominate and get the ball out wide a lot, we need good pace, good delivery and good support, and one who can make recovery runs. And I feel that Gomes and Carlos on the other side will both enable us to do that. So I'm excited, and hopefully they'll be able to show what they've got today, because I think both of them will start if fit. So they're the 2 big signings. It's not a revolution at this point. It doesn't need to be. But there are a couple of others that have been added back into the squad as well. If we go back and have a look in the goalkeeping and defensive departments, Logan McNaughton is our new number 2. He is an 18-year-old Scottish international. He's fabulous. He's even developed since he went back to Dundee United on loan. And he's got the potential to be far better than Jude Sadler. So my hope is that we can play him in some cup games, some European games this year. Maybe even a few of the Premier League games we expect to win heavily. And if he can develop to that level where he's similar to Sadler, then we can maybe take the big money from Saudi next year. Because Sadler's still getting offers of 50, 60 million. And he's someone that we probably need to cash in on next year. So Logan McNaughton, a real chance to develop. And in 1 to 2 years, I envisage him being my first choice keeper. At the back, we're going to be keeping one of 2 people. Soren Hansen is the one at the moment who's getting most of the loan interest, so he may be the one who goes. But he's the one I'd probably rather keep. He's a magnificent defender. He had a great season at Sheffield United, who, by the way, won the Europa Conference League, so he won major silverware in Europe. A fantastic defender, electric quick, good in the air, brilliant technically, and good on the ball as well. The other thing I'm looking to do at the back is build up with ball-playing defenders who can play those balls out wide, release the wingers, the wing-backs, and this guy is the candidate. Ideally, I like to keep him and maybe even have him as first choice, but I think that's going to be determined by whether or not we can get interest in Kieran Peacock, who the only people that have come in for him so far are offering him squad roles rather than first team ones. Because Kieran Peacock, again, had a decent season with Barcelona, actually played for England in the Euros quite a few times. I guess the benefit of him staying this year is that he can play all 3 defensive roles. So if we can't get him out on loan, he will be able to cover at left back, right back and centre half off the bench. We'll offer him out for loan once more. But I just don't feel he's quite as far down the line as Hansen. And he is a couple of years younger in fairness, I think. 21. No, he's not. I've made that up completely. So Peacock needs to get a budge on. We're going to give him a year more and then we might sell him. We'll wait and see. The other defenders, of course, are still the ones we know. Herbert, Sanchez and O'Day. I would have been tempted to sell O'Day, but he's got an injury basically till the end of the window. And he is still a very good player. And he's played well for us last year. So I maybe don't want to push him out just yet. But next summer at the very latest, whichever one of Hansen or Peacock goes out on loan could well be the one to replace him. We've also got the situation with Memic at right back. Now, part of the reason we brought in a new guy is because Memic wasn't happy. He's supporting any teammates that throw their toys out the pram. He's a bit of a bad egg in the dressing room for me as a manager. He's a great player. He's the perfect type of fullback for me, but He's not the best going forward. He picks up a lot of injuries and he's only got 2 years on his contract. So we agreed to sell him if we got a fee of like 80 million. And then Chelsea came in with a loan deal with about 1.5 million in payments. So that's not going to happen. But if we do get a big offer for him before the end of the window, he'll be gone. Because then Rakowski will become our backup right back. And as you can see, we've still got 4 of those 5 centre-halves. Kivrakidis can drop in, Rakowski can drop in. And he's arguably the best of the lot now. And he's natural at right back too. So we're going to play ball-playing defenders this year. Rakowski and possibly Herbert would be first choice. And Hector Sanchez might be the man to drop down because he's kind of flattered to deceive a little bit this year, hasn't he? Not been as good as we expected. As I mentioned, we're trying to loan out Roy Curley. He's just not quite at the level, but a year of football would really benefit him. I'm finding it a bit weird that nobody wants to take him. I might offer him out without the big wage contribution and see if anyone comes in. And then in midfield and attack, it's actually a very similar look to last year. But there's one point of interest. There has been a lot of interest this summer in Ashley Carr, who, yes, he had that fairy tale ending last year, but he didn't really suit our style. And he didn't have the best season. Now, obviously, he might start this one like a house on fire. We'll wait and see. But he's getting interest in the region of 70 to 80 million. Now, to put that into a bit of perspective, we paid 29.5 last summer. He had an average season. If we can get 70 or 80, I would sell him because there is another player at FC Porto who I feel can basically replace him. Maybe not quite so good on the advanced forward side, but he's a little bit taller and he can do both sides of the game, who I could get for about 35, 40. So I may be willing to sell Ashley Carr if the right deal comes along. There's no rush on that front though. I'm just saying if it happens, we might. We've still got a couple of unhappy players. Kranjic with a new contract dispute. Vasquez the same. Kranjic, I tried to offer one, but he wasn't happy to discuss it in the Euros. And now he's suddenly upped his price a little bit. So we're going to have to be patient there. But the midfield's the same. The attack is the same. And the defence, I think, is improved, but maybe with a slightly different style, which will be a bit of a gamble. So with that in mind, let's go and get through to the fixtures today because United in a Community Shield is the first one. To give you a bit of perspective on how good both of these teams are, let me go to the season preview and show you where we're expected to finish. We are in that bunch now. We're expected 7th, United expected 5th, but the odds are all pretty tight, let's be honest. And for some reason, Newcastle are the second favourites when they've not had a great year in a long time. Interesting to note as well on the manager front, Zidane's back for a second stint at Villa. I'll show you their manager situation in a while. Unai Emery left his second stint at Arsenal to go to City to replace Nuno Espirito Santo, and he's been replaced at Arsenal by the former Everton man, Darnell Furlong, who is making quite the wave in the managerial world. So let's go and get through the tactical meeting, see the squad that's recommended to be picked. We'll be back in a minute to run through the 11 as we come up against the United that still have a couple of those star originals. Well, it's not a million miles away, but I've not quite gone for the first 11 today because I want to give a few of the youngsters a run out. I want to give the 2 new boys a run out because this competition now perhaps isn't as important as it was last season when we hadn't won it. So what I want to do is get young players into the shop window, show how good they are, get others off the bench just to get appearances in case they stay, and maybe give a few of the senior players who are closest to full fitness a little bit of a rest, such as Kranjic and Adamson. So with that in mind, we have replaced Jude Sadler in goal with McNaughton, Carlos and Gomez at fullback with Herbert and Rakowski centre-half. We've got Robertson and Vasquez on the wings with Bernberg and Kivrakidis in the middle. We've agreed to sell Bernberg for 145 million if we get the offer. I will snap my hand off for any player if we get that much. And then it's Wills and Carr up front. Will it be second season redemption for Ashley Carr or will it be off for 75 million in a week? Let's find out which one it's going to be as we head into the Community Shield final. And as you can see, for the first time, I'm starting to feel this team is bordering on world class. Well, 5 changes for Manchester United from their last friendly. You can see they've rotated a bit, but based on what we've played against them in recent years, it's near enough their first team, isn't it? Gusto's always in there. Georgiou's always the skipper. Trubin's the number 1 keeper, as Poku, Hoyland, Mainu always start. So this is a strong United side. It's closer to their first 11 than ours is. But we want to have a good day. We're still pretty new to this. It's a Wembley experience. The boys are going to go out and have fun. Apparently there's 10,000 empty seats today. I'm guessing the corporates aren't turning up. But let's get into the first half and see how we go. As it's a United free kick from the start. McNaughton was rooted, but it was off target. And I just want him to have a decent game. That's my only big request today. The first shot of the game is not on target. It's been a quiet start, but here we are with a throw on the right from Gomez to Carr. Big ball into the box early. Vasquez up. Just over. Limited to half chances so far. Nothing clear cut. But one for either side and a bit of attacking intent. Well, 18 on the clock and we're back on the left-hand side with Vasquez in a very advanced position. Balls to Joe Wills after the first cross is blocked and Mainu holds him up, but it's back into Vasquez. He finds Bernberg. Can he have that season we've been waiting for? Kivrakidis to Robertson. Good effort, that. Looked a bit of a poor swing of the foot at first, but it just trickled past that far post and almost gave Trubin some trouble. A quarter gone, though, and still no shot on target for either side. So we are back with a corner right on cue, which Joe Wills bizarrely is taking. Doesn't matter when Herbert's in there, though. Good header just over. Still nothing on target, but we look the aggressors at the moment. We've had more of the game and more of the territory, and even more of the ball, which we don't usually have. Well, 6 minutes to half time, and we're back with United in possession. I've probably kiboshed it with my previous statement. Mainu looking for the through ball. It falls for Hoyland, who smashes the woodwork. Gomez on a booking gets it behind, but McNaughton was beaten there. It's an excellent strike. We've done well to survive it, in truth. But a corner kick means the danger isn't over. It is now, though. Indirect free kick after a handball by the skipper. United trying any means to get the ball in, and that one was certainly not legal. It looks like it's going to be a decent first half. You know me with Wembley Cup finals by now. They're very rarely entertaining games. I know we had the Europa League final, which broke the trend for our usual performances, but the domestic one's not often great. Let's go and say do this for the supporters. He was desperate for me to say it. And I should mention him, actually. He's a new assistant manager because Darren Curry retired at the end of last season. So we will very quickly meet him before we go as well. As Malo Gusto gets down the right-hand side. Good block by Bernberg, who can carry forward. Not much in support, but Robertson's there. That's not great. He's had a decent game, but that's pretty poor. Mainu picks it up in the middle. He is rated better, Robertson, than Yukulano, but he never delivers consistently. As Bernberg wins it back for Herbert. Maybe second season for some of those attacking players. They'll come good this year. As McNaughton plays out to Rakowski. Not had the best game so far. Just, I can't get the right centre-half to play well. As Gomez plays to Robertson again. Ashley Carr is down the line, but he runs into a blind alley. And he's forced back to Rakowski. And now Kivrakidis. Robertson again. Chance to take on his man. Good through ball for Kivrakidis. Carr's in the middle. Wills is in there. But neither of them need to touch it. Birchall and Gusto combine to produce an own goal. Birchall tries to clear it. Hits Gusto and goes in. That was a bit of a mess and a calamity defensively for United. And we score without a shot on target. As Vasquez straight with a free kick again. Away to the left-hand side where Herbert mops up. Carlos finds Kivrakidis. Not great on the ball there. And United have the chance to break with Sarpei. Can he recover? Down the right, Sarpei goes. It's brilliant football. He skinned a lot of them. Into midfield. Myler up out wide to Sarpei. Carlos with a challenge to hold him up. And he's back to the edge of the box. Mainu gets in. And Kivrakidis has given the ball away in the middle. And it has cost us a goal. United level almost as quickly as we scored. And that one came from our own attacking set piece. Just not good enough in truth. Well, it's an hour on the clock and it's a free kick in a similar position to where we conceded from a few moments ago. This time, though, up to the back post to Bernberg, who gets 2 bites at the cherry. One hits the woodwork, one's blocked, and it's out to Ashley Carr on the right, who again, not had the greatest of games. He finds Robertson at the back post, who heads it straight at Trubin, and it stays 1-1. And I think we're going to start looking at changes because the morale's not great. There's a few yellow cards, and there's a few people who could do with replacing. So let's have a look at the ones we want to get on and try and work around it, because ideally I didn't want Joe Wills to do 90. Kranic replacing him gives us a better chance of winning, but Ivanov is the man who needs fitness, so that's the one I'm going to do. We're also going to bring off Kivrakidis for, I think, Jimenez, because he needs the fitness more. Adamson will have to replace Vasquez because he's just been rubbish. And then we're going to probably take off the fullbacks, I think. We're going to bring Soren Hansen on for Gomez, with Rakowski going out to right back. Now, he can actually play either role pretty well, but we're going to leave it at that for now. And then on the left-hand side, do I bring on Peacock or do I bring on De Angelis? I think we have to play safe here. Do we get 6 subs in the Community Shield? We do indeed. So Peacock can come on soon, or Kranic can if we look like we're heading for penalties. We'll leave that for a few more minutes, but those are the subs we've made. And now, I'm going to put Soren Hansen on a ball-playing defender role and see if that sorts out our right centre-half, because that may be the future here that we're stumbling on. You can see from the stats we are the better side now, but As much as we've grown into it and created more, we've not really looked like scoring bar a couple of set pieces. So let's throw out some encouragement with just over 10 to go. I know I want to get Peacock on, but I feel like I've got to take Carr off for Kranjic because, again, he doesn't look like scoring. As Georgiou loses the ball briefly, but United win it back. It's a rare foray forward for them in the second half, but are they going to make it count? We've pressed well to force them back to the keeper, but they've still got time to get forward. Malo Gusto carrying it to the right-hand side, back to his centre-halves. Into Georgiou, and now Yarmolik into the Højlund up front, and he's blazed it over the bar. Ashley Carr will come off for Kranjic. And let's see if the star striker can come on and be the hero. As we 10 to go, we might need him for penalties anyway. And we all know from that Champions League tie last year, we don't want Ashley Carr taking one. There's 2 minutes of stoppage time remaining, and United are trying to find a winner. We're trying to press them and get it back as Adamson does that in a centre circle. Chance to carry forward from the inside left. He's going all the way. Adamson shoots. It's a good save from Trubin. And all the subs are coming on for United. That would have been some finish, wouldn't it? He's on the corner as well here, is Ryan Adamson. And we've got a couple of big boys in Hansen and in Herbert at the back stick. They both go up, but so does Trubin. And that delivery is absolutely shocking. 1 minute of stoppage time played out. Now we've got penalty kicks to finish. Let's sort out the takers. We'll be back in a minute to see the spot kicks. Well, we've not got the greatest array of takers to choose from, so this might be quite tough. We start with Teddy Ivanov, and if he misses, we know it's going to be a bad day. But he doesn't. He sends the keeper the wrong way with an emphatic penalty. That's magnificent. But now Højlund, the number 9 for United, will be trying to do exactly the same. Left-footed this time. McNaughton the wrong way. This time last year it was Spike Brits. Can it be McNaughton this time? The 18-year-old in goal. He needs Dejan Kranjic to take the pressure off him. The regular penalty taker during the season. And that's why. Into the top corner with aplomb. We are 2-1 up, and now Yarmolik is up against McNaughton. Be a hero, son. Show what you're going to do in the future. Because ultimately, as McNaughton saves, if this save were going on for 30 years, I'd hedge my bets on him becoming the club's record appearance maker now. Adamson steps up. Can he restore the double advantage? He does. 3-1 Southend, that's what we wanted. You've got to reinforce it once you save one. As Reed steps up for United and makes it 3-2. If the spot kick takers do their job, we've won it. But we're into the single digits now. Jorg Robertson is up next. Right-footed. Scores into the corner past Trubin. Just as he did in that Champions League game, by the way. Now, if McNaughton saves this, he'll be remembered as the hero. If he doesn't, we're relying on a fifth taker, which I think is a nervous Bernberg. So I'd rather it get done here. Malo Gusto, the right back. Maybe a surprise he's stepping up next. Come on, Logan. Be a superstar. Gusto sends him the wrong way. And now there's still a chance for Manchester United. If we score or we save, we will be the winners of the Community Shield again. And it's just nice to have that trophy on the board. The Southend cabinet needs filling. And Peter Bernberg, I want this to be a big season for you. Can you start it with a special moment? Bernberg via dancing Trubin. And Peter Bernberg is the hero. 5-3 on penalties to Southend for the second successive year in the Community Shield. Yes, this time we didn't get hammered after going down to 10 men, but we do get the same outcome. A penalty hero in a backup goalkeeper, and Logan McNaughton showing that the future is bright when Jude Sadler inevitably moves on. Trophy on the board for Southend, takes the pressure off for the season again. What a start. The 2 new wingbacks got their debuts out the way too. And a number of young players looked very, very crucially important there. Fantastic result, very decent performance, and a trophy on the board in a Southend United cabinet. We won't be sending a Community Shield back this year. Enjoy the celebrations. We've got 6 days before the new season, and that is about the perfect way to start. We'll go and have a look at the schedule in a second to see when we're next going to be back, because of course we have got the season starting next week. But let me very quickly, before we go, show you the new assistant manager. As Darren Curry retired, who was here when we started the save, and we have brought in, well, a big upgrade. Our new assistant manager is Mike Dodds, a man that Sunderland fans will know well. And in this game, he's a brilliant coach, a brilliant judge of potential, a very good tactician, a very good people manager, and a very good motivator. I've offered him big money. He's only 50 still at the moment, so he's got plenty of time to grow into the role. And I think until the end of this save now, I'd very much like him to be my number 2. Let's go and have a look at the schedule though to see when we're next going to be back. And it may work out quite well for us because we've got those 4 friendlier games on paper at the start of the season. I say that, Sheffield United were top half last year and won the Europa Conference, but the other 3 we should win. Then at the start of September, we've got the Carabao Cup third round, which who knows who we'll get. Then United, Arsenal, Liverpool. Now, I don't plan on there being any big news before the end of the window. We're starting to get offers for our players. I may well come back for it. It may be deadline day and a big cup tie, or it'll be a double header between United, Arsenal and Liverpool. There are Champions League fixtures that are going in there as well, so the next 2 episodes will probably be quite quick in succession. But if you enjoyed this one, a thrilling start to the season, 2 huge record signings, and perhaps a few surprise outs on the way, and please do put a thumbs up on the video. Let me know what you think of the new fullbacks and the change in style. Hopefully will allow us to control games a bit more and really apply the pressure against those bottom half sides. Hopefully no slip-ups, hopefully a chance to get a 3rd successive title, and more importantly, be more competitive in a Champions League. If you want to stay up to date and find out if we are, then subscribe and turn that notification bell on. We'll be back here in a couple of days' time after a big one at Willem 2 tomorrow. We've got transfer deadline day there, courtesy of our director of football. And I hope you'll come and join me for that, because at the moment, it looks like it's going to be a bit of a cracker with some big sales and signings. In addition, we're also live loads throughout the Euros with watch-along streams. Thank you so much to everyone who's got involved with them. You can follow the Twitch channel up in the eye above to see them. And there's also a link there to our latest manager special from the Football Podcast, where we discuss the Sunderland managerial change as Mike Dodd steps down from the interim role. But thank you very much for watching, for being here as always. And I'll see you back here in a couple of days' time to see who leaves before the end of the window.